Hi everyone, Heather Mason76 here. This is a response video to EdT1138's Top 3 Tuesday for this week, which is brought to you by the Thrift Dwellers. Their topic for this week is Top 3 Video Game Franchises. So for me, mine are kind of scattered around. I know a lot of people will pick stuff like Mega Man and Sonic and Mario Brothers and Zelda and all those types, but I certainly picked 3 different random types because they're the ones that pretty much stuck with me through the time that I played a lot of video games, which was between middle school and high school. I played a lot in grade school too, but I jumped consoles when I was younger. So I literally jumped from the Atari 2600 to the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD, and then jumped from that to the PlayStation. Because my family, my cousins and stuff, which I was always over at their house, and we always played video games. They always had the Super Nintendo. My friends always had the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo or something else. So I never had to worry about really ever buying those systems, because since I was over there all the time, I always played those other games. But the ones that pretty much stuck with me that I personally owned, the top 3 franchises for me are as follows. Okay, number 3 for me is going to be the Grand Theft Auto series. Grand Theft Auto has been around since 1998, and of course they've changed over the developer's name. It was originally a Take-Two production, which was originally from Scotland, and so far, and they've actually of course branched off and they've become Rockstar, and of course there's a Rockstar, a regular Rockstar, and a Rockstar North, and of course those two big developer companies have, of course, made a whole bunch of decent games, especially since they picked up the Red Dead series, and of course now they have Red Dead Redemption, and they've made a number of Grand Theft Autos. Grand Theft Auto, for me, is really fun. It's one of those games that you can just throw in and just, go crazy in the city. You can just run around and cause as much chaos as you possibly can. And of course, since it's called Grand Theft Auto, the first thing you have to do for most of the missions, if you want to get anywhere in any of the cities or anything in a short amount of time, you're going to have to steal a car, because you don't have any kind of assigned vehicle really at the beginning of the game. So it's super fun. I mean, it's one of those games that's not exactly good for kids to play, but that's why I really like it, because whenever anybody that was little could play it, they were just sneaking it, and it's just one of those really fun games that, like I said, you can just really throw in and just run amok in the city and see how much crap you can seriously get away with before you get in trouble with the police and the army and the cops. That's what's so fun about the new ones. You have SWAT teams coming after you now because of how ridiculous things can get. And it's just super fun. Some of the random things you can pick up and hit people with, it's just fun. It's just really random. It's just one of those real random sandbox games, especially now, with Grand Theft Auto 4, you can go everywhere and do everything, so it's super fun. And I really did like the Lost and the Damned add-on pack, as well as the Ballad of Gay Tony. And I really liked, I liked all the I always enjoyed all the series. My favorite one still to this day is probably going to be Vice City, though, because of the fact that it was set in the 80s, for one, and I'm a huge 80s nerd. I love 80s movies, 80s music. It was just great. So I had a lot of fun running around in Vice City. I couldn't do a lot of missions, but it was always fun just running around in the 80s world. So that's always fun that they always change the different settings and stuff as well for most of the games. The San Andreas was still the one that kind of really lacked for me, just because of the gameplay and just how it was. I really did like Grand Theft Auto 3, I think, a little bit more, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City a lot more than I liked San Andreas, but the Grand Theft Auto 4 was fun, and I'm really looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 5, so I'm hoping that the franchise still keeps going for a while, so yeah. So my number 3 pick is going to be Grand Theft Auto series. Number 2 for me is going to be the Pokemon franchise. Now, Pokemon's been around for quite a long time now, seeing as the original probably came out for the Game Boy. So it's been around for quite some time. I used to collect Pokemon cards when I was younger, and when I got my Christmas money in probably, I want to say, 1998, 99, I'm pretty sure, the first thing I did with my Christmas money was I went to Funkoland, which was GameStop, which was Funkoland at the time, and I ended up buying a Game Boy Color And the first game I ever bought for it was the special Pikachu Yellow edition of Pokemon. I had so much fun playing that game, and still to this day, these games are so much fun for RPGs. Like, all the different ones that have been out, there's all these new different Pokemon you can capture, and you don't have to really like all the new Pokemon. Like, there's ways that you can move and you know, and link up your old games with other ones and just trade off and put some of your older, you know, older Pokemon on there. So either way, even if you don't like the new Pokemon, you can still run around with your older ones if you want to run around with that team. So it's not that big of a deal. I like the story for each of them. Like, even Black. Like, Black has a really bit of a darker story, but it's really fun. And, you know, how many girls do you know that's, like, in their 20s that has a Dragonite cuddle pillow with her? Like, seriously. By the way, Dragonite is probably the best Pokemon ever. Don't judge me. So, yeah. So number 2 for me is going to be the Pokemon franchise. It's always been super fun all the way up to now, and I cannot wait for Black 2 to come out. It's gonna be super awesome, so yeah. Number 1 for me is going to be, for the franchises, is going to be Silent Hill. Silent Hill has really gotten a lot of slack lately, especially with their recent releases, but the originals 1 through 3, I still, to this day, to me, really always will hold up. 1 will definitely always hold up, regardless of how people say how crappy it looks, because of the fact that it pulls you in with the environment. Like, all of these other games that come out nowadays, especially like games like for the 3DS, for the PlayStation Move, for the Kinect, for the Wii, with the Wii Remote, they're all like, oh, it's interactive. But the thing is that's why I like Silent Hill. You don't need to have one of those kind of gimmicks to have that kind of interactivity with this game. This kind of game, with the atmosphere and the music, especially from Akira Yamaoka at the time, between Silent Hills 1 through 4, the music really pulls you, and the atmosphere really pulls you into the game and really immerses you into that environment. That really kind of gives you that sense of dread when you're walking through a hallway and you go to all these different doors and you're like, I don't know if I want to open this door, because you don't know what could be over there. It could be some crazy nurse with like a scalpel that's just like lost her mind, or there's like, you know, like those nurse zombie things, or there's like those demon kids in the school. Oh my god, those things are still creepy to this day. Like I said, Silent Hill 1 will still always hold up to me. It still always scares me when I play it, especially with all the background music and background effects on. It's still really creepy to this day. So yeah, Silent Hill 2 and 3 were still always my favorites as well. I mean, look at my name underneath. It says Heather Mason. My real name isn't Heather Mason. I've just always been a super big fan of Silent Hill series. I mean, Silent Hill has always been a big branch for me for certain things. Like, I've always enjoyed Silent Hill just to be creative with things. The first plushie I made, for God's sakes, was a plushie Pyramid Head, so that should tell you something. Plus, most of my friends that I've actually had for years and years and years were actually on the Silent Hill forums that I was a part of. Even my boyfriend I actually met about, 10 years ago on the Silent Hill forums page, so that should tell you something. Yeah, so number 1 for me for franchises is going to be the Silent Hill series. This is Heather Mason 76 saying thank you very much for posting this video for the Top 3 Tuesday, and see you guys later.